Hi there, this is Jason Renshaw from EnglishITutor.com. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to present for you another TOEFL speaking sample for question 1, and this is actually an example question and response for question 1 on the latest test that I've uploaded to my site, Test 6. Now, ETS has been updating its approach a little bit on certain questions in the speaking section, and in particular for question 1 there's been a new style of format and some variations on the question style that have really confused a lot of people who were previously used to a fairly stable and fairly predictable style of prompt. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to give you an example of that kind of new question, and then show you how I would answer it along with a script. So here's the example question from Test 6, question 1 on Test 6. A friend of yours has recently announced that she is seriously considering quitting college to look for a full-time job and earn more money. What advice would you give her? Give reasons and examples to support your response. So that's the example question, and this is why a lot of people have been saying that this is really confusing for them, because previously the question 1 was always, talk about a person or a place or an experience, and then say why you've chosen that particular place, experience, person, whatever. But in this case, it's much more open, and it's saying, give some advice to a friend. So a lot of people are saying, oh, I don't have any template for this. I don't have any sort of style or strategy to answer it fairly comfortably. But the basic strategy remains the same. You want to select your topic. In this case, it is, specifically what sort of advice you're going to give in response to this actual prompt, and then you want to explain that advice a little bit, the same way as you would with the other kinds of questions, where you would give some contextual information or a description, and then you want to give some reasons, and hopefully one of those reasons will be supported with some sort of simple example. So the actual strategy is actually pretty much the same, and I'll show you what I mean. Because my sample response, I think in this case I would be saying to my friend, sure, go ahead, stop studying to get a full-time job. Living is important and you need money to do that, but please make sure that you also continue with your study. Part-time study, online, by distance mode, whatever. Now, one of my main reasons for this would be that if you completely back out of study, it's very, very hard to restart it again. I have one friend who dropped out of his IT course at university to work full-time. He did start to make good money, but his lack of credentials did hold him back from promotions and such. He wanted to go back and study again, but just sort of never managed to actually do it. And beyond that, it's just a lot easier these days to take part-time online courses. There are so many study options, and many universities really do cater to full-time workers. So let's go back and review that again. I've stated my topic, and that is, well, sure, I support you in this move, stop your full-time study to get a full-time job. And then I've added some information to explain myself. I understand living is important, you need money, but please, and here, I've added something to the advice. Make sure that you also continue with your study, part-time study, online, by distance mode, whatever. Now I'm going to go ahead and explain why I'm giving that advice. My first main reason is that, once you stop, it's very hard to get back and continue on with your study. And then I give an example of an actual friend who I do know, who dropped out of his IT course, and he had problems with his promotions within his career, but he also wanted to go back, but just sort of never managed to really do it. So I've supported that idea with an example from my own experience with a friend. And then I've just added a follow-up reason. That universities do cater to people that want to work full-time. There are a lot more part-time and online options. So the basic strategy is pretty much still the same. You're giving your topic, you're explaining it, you're giving some reasons and some examples. And that is the sample response for question 1 on test 6.